Hello Flosstube friends, I am Lisa and this is my channel Cross by Floss, where I talk about cross stitching and life blabbings. And today is one of those life blabbings stitch with me video. So I hope that you will grab your craft, grab something warm to, grab something to drink. Whether it's warm or cold, depending on where you're at. Here it is a little chilly, little overcast, a little rainy. It's not a pleasant day, but it is a pleasant day to stay inside. So I have my coffee with maybe some Baileys in it. Not gonna lie, it's got some Baileys in it. It's not quite noon, but it doesn't matter because it's a Sunday. And so the project we're gonna work on today is Plum Street Samplers, Promised Lamb, and this is one of the charts that I showed in my project Parade of Kits video I put up last week. Oh my gosh, that was such a fun video. In fact, my craft room's a little bit of a mess now because of all of the organizing and flossing that I needed to do, and so it's a little bit of a mess. But I do hope that at least the Parade of Kits was worth, I mean, I know that I, led up to it so often and finally got one up, but it's the same as my craft room tour. Now I need to do some cleaning in the craft room tour. So hopefully I'll be able to do one of those videos, but if that's not going to happen for a little bit, and I'll kind of explain why, but hopefully by the time that it does go up, it'll be worth it. So just like hopefully the Parade of Kits. But anyways, the one I'm going to do is Plum Street Samplers Promised Lamb. I loved this pattern. I think I got it on I got this from Acorns and Threads in the clearance box. So that was pretty exciting to me. This is a 2013 pattern. So if you are looking for it, it is 2013 Promised Lamb, not land, lamb. That there. Yep. And the colors in this are just delicious. Just super, super pretty. So let me get myself ready here and we will get to stitching. Okay, this looks like a really simple pattern, and if you follow my Stitch With Me videos, I try to do new patterns on a Stitch With Me video because then it gets me to do something, because I have a rotation-ish sort of. No, I work on what I want, really, except for my Whip Go items. And because this year I committed to Whip Go, and so, but on Sundays, my Stitch With Me Sundays, it gives me the opportunity to be able to stitch something new. And I have, oh my goodness, I have a lot. I have a lot of charts. I have a lot of kits. I have a lot of whips. And so, yeah, so I just thought, hey, the Sunday videos, Stitch With Me videos, doing something new and doing a border, because then it's fairly easy and I can talk and kind of follow the pattern fairly easy, because most borders are repetitious, and so I can mostly figure that out. So this I am doing on 16 count Ada from Color and Cotton called Shiplap, and this was one of the colors of the month. I'm in the Fabric of the Month Club, and I'm doing it with the called for DMCs, the conversion of DMCs. It's actually done in Fancy Floss. I just don't remember which one. But I'm doing the DMC version of that, because while I do have a lot of Fancy Floss, it's spoken for in other kits. Whatever. So so you guys know my little trick of my 3-inch border. I've already got this all set out into my R&R lap stand that I've talked about before. I will tell you, this is the small stand. There's 3 sizes of this stand now, and maybe when I bought this one, the other ones were sold out because I did not see them. But this is the small version of that stand. And then there's 2 more versions, or maybe it's the medium version. I don't remember. Anyways, it's one of the 3 versions. And so there's 2 additional stands that you can get that have 2 different sizes. This one I think has the 8.5 by 11 and the 11 by 11 size, I think is what this is. So I think this is a small one, yes. And I am tempted to buy a bigger one because I really do like the lap stand, but I bought another lap stand the other day, and I'm going to do a kind of a review on that in my next video because I need another part. So before I can make a review or do a review on it, I want to have all the pieces and have tried it for a few days before I actually say something. So, but for right now, this one's awesome. Okay, so my trick, 3-inch border. This is a 17 by 26 piece, and I needed 15 by 18.5, I think, to do this pattern. And so I'm going to have substantial border for the 26, the 18.5 to the 26 inch. So I'm going to have some leftover fabric, but I like a 3-inch border. So I took my sticky pad, my sticky note pad, that's a 3x3, and I measured it from the serged edge and the whatever this salvage edge, and I measured it from that, and that's where I've got started my hole. And I actually need to go down. 3. 1, 2, 3. And you know that I do a loop start, so let's get this started. And funny story, you guys. Remember in my last Stitch With Me video, I showed you how I put my floss on floss tags, right? Well, what I've been doing the last few nights with all those projects that I had kitted up, not all of them are on floss rings yet, and because it's DMC colors, and I still need to put why am I having a problem here? Just a second. I still need to put all of the floss on floss rings. And so I had been doing that the last couple of nights, but I had not cut my bottoms, and made them so that they're all stranded. And so in prep for this, I'm getting along and I'm doing my thing and pulling the floss out, and it's just keeps going, and now it's bunching up. I'm like, what in the world? And then it dawned on me, I'd forgotten to cut the ends. So yeah, so that was a bit of a trial to when I realized that, of course, my threads had all bunched up, and I had to do a little doctoring. So that was super, super fun. I would not recommend that. Would not recommend. So remember to cut your floss after you've put it on the floss ring or the floss tag. Don't leave it. So my first couple of strands are going to be a little wonky, maybe a little long than they should be. And yeah, some days I wonder how I manage. So this one is nice and long. I probably could have cut this in half and started, but why? I mean, I like to make my life just a touch more difficult than it needs to be some days. It's fine. So today I thought I'd just do, some random blabbings. So the other day, this is funny. So last night, my daughter and I, there's a couple of stories in this one. Yesterday, which was Saturday, it was tax day. So I've had this really nice guy come and do our taxes for the last couple of years. He has watched my kids grow up and now he's doing their taxes. And, you know, taxes are just not a super happy time, and had not historically been a happy time in my house until I got this really nice accountant who comes and does our taxes. Or he must be yeah. Anyways, he came yesterday to do all of our taxes. Well, that meant that, you know, I cleaned the house a little bit, like cleaned the stove more than anything, and, you know, put the dishes in the dishwasher. Oh, and clean the table off of the Little's slime experiment from a couple of days ago. But it meant that I actually had to put on clothes. And so, and then I'm going to kind of preface this, but I also had to go to the post office and then go to the pet store and buy some more food for Mr. Odin and the little dog. And so I had to be dressed anyways, and so I was like, okay, well, you know, I'll go and do those errands, and then I'll come back home, get ready, you know, have all the tax stuff ready for our guy. And my daughter was coming to have her taxes done as well, and then I knew that, you know, we'd spend some time together. So, you know, that's all good. So I do the get to the post office, I go to the dog store, and this is how bad this is. I don't read my emails very often, especially like, you know, ads and stuff, like promo things. And we belong to like a pet store that has specific food for the big guy. And you know, they randomly send out emails about, you know, specials, blah, blah, blah. Well, I barely read them because I'm in this pet store almost every 2 weeks buying another 25-pound bag of food for the big man. And so I typically don't read them. But this last time I hadn't been in for almost probably 3 weeks because I was able to get 2 bags the last time I went, and it's not cheap food either. In fact, we kind of joke that he eats better than we do sometimes. And and so I walk on in there and I go to get his bag of food, and they only had 1 bag on the shelf, but they've got this ad up saying that, you know, each bag you get $7 off, but if you buy 3 or more, it's $10 off each. And I'm like, okay, let's see if they have more, because $10 off, fantastic, right? And then that would help me not have to come back again, blah, blah. So they went to the back and they found 2 more bags. I got all 3 bags that they had in this store. Down the road, there's another pet store, same owner. And, I could have also gone there, and they probably would have honored the amount, because they're good like that. And let me count here. Sorry, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. Once I get this pattern going, I'll be fine. But in that same parking lot is Trader Joe's. And so I'm like, okay, so I've got my, you know, my day all planned out. I'm going to go here, here, and here. And then I'm going to come home, you know, just finish up all the little stuff, you know, wipe down the counters, you know, that kind of thing. And then, you know, the tax guy would come. So I'm like, okay, this is great. So get the first errand done, go and get the food, get that done. And then I go to Trader Joe's across the parking lot. And I have to buy some food for the little and some other things that we like. And I love Trader Joe's. I love Trader Joe's. I've been a Trader Joe fan for a really long time, but I don't get out of there cheaply, unfortunately. And I mean, it's all stuff we eat, but it is not cheap. And, but they carry flowers and plants occasionally. And the last time I'd been in there, I bought one of the last foliage plants that they had, but they restocked. So, of course, I am now like perusing all of their plants, right? And you have to be careful because Trader Joe's plants, while they are a really good price, they can have bugs. Like, they're really notorious for bugs, and they don't always survive. Now, that could be because I kill the plants, but I have had some issues with keeping my Trader Joe's plants alive if I don't really baby them when I bring them home. And so I'm standing there, and I'm pretty sure that I ticked off a couple of ladies because I had several plants in my cart, but I also had several plants in my hand. And then I had like a little pile in front of me as well. And because I'm deciding, right? And then I'm also thinking about my daughter because she wasn't with me. And she also, we just enjoy a Trader Joe's plant. And so here I am, I'm taking pictures, and I'm texting her, and I'm like, which ones do you want? And the nice thing is like their plants range from like $3 to $6. Some of their more, maybe some of the bigger ones are a little more, but they're famous for their orchids. They've got the most beautiful orchid plants. And if you can take care of an orchid plant, you will be very happy with a Trader Joe's one. I have not had success because I seem to want to lovingly overwater them. I want to hydrate them so very much, and apparently you can't do that so well with an orchid. So I have some problems in that area. And yeah. So, you know, these poor ladies, they didn't get a chance to get into the plants because I was kind of hogging them all. I did end up buying five plants because finally, by the time that I'm in the line, my daughter then texts me and she goes, "Oh yeah, no, I won't say no to either of those." And I'm like, great. So then I had to go back. I looked at the guy and I'm like, "I'm so sorry. I just need to run back and get one more of these plants." He's like, "Oh, no problem." And so yeah, so I think I bought 5 plants from Trader Joe's yesterday. So I get home, I unload the groceries, get the plants out, you know, look and make sure that there's no fungus gnats and all that kind of stuff. I am learning all kinds of things that I did not know about plants, you guys. And so, sorry, still counting because counting is fundamental in cross stitch, right guys? Yes, it is. So then my daughter comes and the tax guy is here, and you know, we get everything done. It was a little stressful. This is the first year that the taxes came out in my favor, so that was a nice little surprise, thankfully. But then that meant that I had money that is now burning a hole in my pocket. So my daughter says to me, "How about we go to Starbucks, get some coffee? Then I need to go to IKEA and Home Depot." And I'm like, fantastic. So I go down to IKEA because I was going to save us a place because it's always busy. We have one IKEA in Seattle, Seattle. And it is always busy and there's always a line. So I was going to be like, okay, well, I'll get in the line. And she went to Starbucks drive-through and was going to meet me down there. Well, you guys, the parking lot was so crazy. It was so crazy. So I call her and I'm like, it is so busy here and there is a line. Like, do we really want to go here? And she goes, no, I'll wait. I'll wait for another day and I'll go either, you know, just as they open or just an hour before they close, because then it's not so bad. I'm like, okay, cool. And while I like me in IKEA, I really wasn't looking forward to the crazy of IKEA that day. And so that worked out in my favor. And so we had said, okay, well, let's go to Home Depot. And I'm like, yes. So I drive down to Home Depot and I get in there and I go to the plants. And you guys, they moved the plant section for all the patio furniture that's out right now. And so I am like, oh my gosh, there are so many new plants, indoor plants. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to, you know, check out what is happening here. And okay, just hang on here, some more counting. So then my daughter calls me and she's like, hey, I just parked. And I said, okay, well, I'm in the plants. You best get in here. And so she's like, okay. I've got a cart. I am like, seriously, I am in heaven. They had little pots of all kinds of different varieties of plants that were $5. And then they had the next size up, they were $9. And then the next size up were $15. And then they had, you know, their normal the big plants, the palms, the umbrellas, and all that. So we start off in the small, right? And I've got like a cart full of smalls and I'm kind of like, I've got maybe a little section for her, thinking, you know, because I went through all the flats to get the best ones. And so I picked a few for her and a few for me, and so she comes on in and I've got this cart full of stuff. And she's like, wow, this is awesome. And I said, I know, and there's so much more. And so now we are like practically on our hands and knees underneath all the display and everything, you know, looking at all of the plants. So we both have, you know, quite a few of the $5 ones. They're $4.98. So if you're looking for indoor plants, go to your local Home Depot. Hopefully they have the selection. At least our selection was awesome. They must have just come out that day because they were full, like full. And so it was awesome. And then you go down further, you know, and then there's the bigger plants and whatever. And then we look and we're looking at these plants and she goes, oh my gosh, those are peace lilies. And I'm like, really? Because I was looking for a jade. Okay, you guys, have you watched Stitchin' from the She Shack with Donna, I think is her channel name? She is the plant lady. Now, Donna is super sweet and she had not uploaded a video for a really long time. And she just uploaded one the other day. And at the end, like in her She Shack is where like she's got this beautiful array of plants and flowers all in her She Shack. It's beautiful. And at the end, she talked about a jade plant and how Odin and how when the jades drop their leaves that you can just put them in a pot of dirt and then they will repopulate themselves or regrow themselves. And so I was like, I now need a jade because if they're that easy, okay, fantastic, right? They didn't have any jades. It's fine. I'm gonna find one. It's fine. And then my daughter's like, well, you know, I have jades. And I'm like, okay, so next time it drops its stuff, stick it in a pot of dirt for me and I'll be over. She's like, they take a really long time to grow. And I'm like, nuh-uh, Donna showed hers. And they, you know, she showed one that was like a month old and 5 months old and 5 years old or something like that. And I'm like, you should see the size of them. And she's like, well, she must be a much better grower than I am. And that could be. And so now we're looking at all the peace lilies, right? So we pull out a few, and she finds this beautiful peace lily that she is just in love with. And now we're looking for my peace lily. And they probably had, I would say, 15 or 16 peace lilies. And they were big, and they were $30 for the size that they are, and which are a really good size. And they were, they're sprouting. They've got babies. Some of the flowers already coming up. They're just really fantastic, and so that's a really good price. So I am now pulling out every single pot of peace lily that there was, because everything I pulled out, like either the side looked wonky or a lot of the leaves were broken. And while, yes, we could fix that and everything, I mean, if there's a better one in the bunch, let's just keep looking, right? And so probably the fourth to last one that I pull out, I just had this feeling that it was it, that I was going to love this one, and it was meant to come home. But I'd had a couple of others also out, and here we are. We've got all of these large. They're big potted. I mean, I put a picture of it on my Instagram with Mr. Odin, and it's a good sized plant. And so I have like 14 of those all over the aisle, because we were like, deciding. So finally, I'm like, poor people, they had to come up and around a little bit to go down the aisle. But everybody was really gracious. I mean, it happens all the time, right? And, but yes, I was that person at Home Depot with all of these plants all over the floor in Home Depot. And with all of these plants all over the floor, now I'm like, okay, well, let's eliminate, start eliminating. And I think I had 4 pots, that I kind of like the look of, but I kept drawing back to this one particular one. And she's like, oh my gosh, Mom, and she starts looking at it, and she's like, hey, this has variegation in it. And I'm like, okay, stop touching it, because it's not yours. You already picked yours. This one's mine. And she's like, okay, if this one has variegation in it, it's a much more expensive plant than, what they're selling it for. And I'm like, okay, cool. And, but still stop touching it like it's not yours. You're going to inherit it one day, probably, if I can keep it alive, but quit touching it. You've already picked yours. As I'm putting, 10 of these pots back up on the shelf. And we're a comedy act when we go out. It is really funny. People kind of enjoy us. And and so now I've got these 4, and I just keep drawing back to this one. Long story short, yes, I took it home. It's mine. I bought it, and I did. But yesterday I bought 14 plants. 12 that were mine, because 2 of the Trader Joe ones are my daughter's. But yes, I am now the proud mom of 12 new plants. I didn't tell Mr. G how many plants I bought yesterday, only the one that I showed him a picture of. So we'll see if he notices when he comes back. If he notices that there's a bunch more new plants that happened here. But I just felt that because, the taxes turned out in my favor, finally, this year, that I deserved a little treat. I didn't expect that it was going to be 12 new plants, but, the majority of them were $5 plants, and they were such a great buy, and they all look pretty good, and everything. But then that meant that I fell down a rabbit hole last night of fungus gnats, and I had to buy a moss pole for my Monstera. and also the soil and the charcoal and all kinds of like things that I did not. But I figure that, you know, seeing as I've managed to keep humans alive, that now I'm going to, and animals, I'm going to try really hard to keep plants alive. So yesterday when I showed Mr. G the peace lily, and he is like, oh, why do we have another new plant? And I'm like, well, because, and he goes, I said, I'm gonna try and keep this one alive. And he said, well, what's your percentage of keeping them alive so far? And I'm like, I have to tell you, I think it's pretty good, like 85%. Oh man, I tell ya, I think I'm doing pretty well. I mean, yeah. But then, you know, because we were hungry, we went out. Well, we did drive through. And this is where things have really changed since COVID, right? Like, okay, so get our food, and she actually had to go home, but a new Home Goods opened up close to my Chick-fil-A, which is where we went. And so I was gulping down food because it was kind of late at night at this point. It was almost 8 o'clock. And but the Home Goods was open until 9:30 last night. And so I'm now gulping down my food because I'm like, ooh, I need to get into that Home Goods store and see what they have. And unfortunately she couldn't come because she had bought Chick-fil-A for the family, and she needed to get it home while it was still hot. And so I was like, well, too bad for you. And so, but okay, this is where the whole COVID thing comes in. So, you know, before, when I ate food in my car from a drive-through, I never thought about it. I would just like lick my fingers after, you know, you've got some salt on there from your fries, or a little sauce fell from your burger, and, you know, so you just lick your fingers. I noticed it last night. I no longer lick my fingers when I have fast food. And here, okay, funny, weird, I don't know. It just changes, like all of these little changes that you do since COVID, right? And like, we wash our masks religiously. I have disposable masks as well as washable masks. The disposable ones are ones that I know that, you know, I'm going somewhere that like a lot of dirt or dust or something like that is going to be. And so I just want to throw it out. Like when I go to get my hair done, because she gets the mask wet with, you know, washing hair and, you know, that kind of thing. And so I'll wear a disposable one there. Or if I'm going outside to do planting or whatever, and I know that a lot of dirt is going to be happening, I'll wear a more disposable one. And so I have disposable and my washable in the car, but I also, at Costco, they had wipes, hand wipes that you can buy that are all antibacterial and have, you know, the alcohol and everything. And they came in a pack of 3. And so each one of us has a pack in our car. And it's just so that every time you go to a store or do anything, and then you come out and you know, clean your hands off. And that's one of the reasons why I have to put lotion on, because the alcohol dries my hands out really bad. And I'm constantly washing my hands and now using these wipes. And so anyway, so because we had gone to Home Depot, I had cleaned my hands, and then it's got that weird smell on them, but it also tastes horrible because of whatever alcohol, you know, that they've used, and whatever other chemicals that they've used to kill, you know, bacteria and bad things. So that's on there as well. And so, yeah, it just tastes horrible. And so now, you know, when I eat, I know that my hands are clean, but they are gonna not taste so good. So I don't lick my fingers anymore. Long story short, COVID has changed some of my habits, and I don't lick my fingers after fast food anymore. Just one of those weird little quirks that I noticed last night, which was a little funny. And then also kind of related to mask wearing, more mask wearing. You know, when this all started and I had said, you know, wear your mask, and how awesome is it that, you know, especially for us ladies that might need a little electrolysis or sugaring or plucking or, you know, waxing or whatever of the upper lip region and maybe lower chin region, and really anywhere from the nose down. That, you know, sometimes that maintenance can be a little hard, and then when you're wearing a mask, nobody sees that, right? So, which is all fine and good. However, you know, for yourself, you also, you know, maintenance is a good thing. And 1, 2, 3, no, one more, 4. And so, you know, occasionally I will, you know, do the maintenance as needed and everything is good. But now when we're wearing a mask and we're out, what do people see? They see your eyes, right? They see everything from, you know, the upper bridge of your nose, if you're wearing your mask correctly, up, because your nose should be covered along with your mouth and your chin. And so now it's really the upper half of your face that people are noticing. And you know how they say that the eyes are the windows of your soul? Well, that I think has become especially more relevant now that that is really what people see is your eyes. And so I make I always leave my house with mascara on, just because it just is something that I do. I think I learned that from my grandma. You always put on blush and you always put on mascara and your lipstick. Well, lipstick doesn't apply because of a mask. And I don't wear blush often, except if I'm going to get dressed up, but I always wear mascara. And so, you know, I've been putting that on a little bit more if I have to go out. Well, then I realized the eyebrows. I don't typically look a whole lot at myself in the mirror. I know where my eyelashes are after 50 some odd years of having them. And so I can, you know, put on mascara without a mirror. So I don't really look a whole lot in the mirror. But then the other day I had a look and I was like, what has happened to the eyebrow situation? It's not a unibrow, but oh my word, like things are sticking out. And I was like, okay. So clearly that needs to be cleaned up, because that's what people are seeing. They're not seeing the stash underneath your mask. No, they're seeing that stray eyebrow, you know, eyebrow hair that is like poking out and looking like it's like, hello, see me? I'm over here. This woman isn't paying attention to me, and so I'm going to make you notice me. I was a little horrified. Because, you know, like, it's so hard to get into a salon, and I don't wax myself because even though I'll go to a salon I get sugared. I don't do waxing. Sugaring is a lot gentler on your skin, and it exfoliates better. And for people who have thick, coarse hair like me, but sensitive skin, it's just a lot gentler. And so I go for sugaring, and but I can't do it myself. Even though I know it's going to be a little painful, I can't bring myself to give myself that pain, the anticipation of ripping off, or, you know, like, yeah, no, I can't do it. I just can't do it. And I've chickened out. I don't even do my legs. I won't even wax my own legs. I've chickened out once I've put the cloth strip on, and then we're, need to go and pull. I'm like, no, So I've put the water on and gotten it all back off and everything. Cause no, I've chickened out so many times. Now my daughter will do it for me. But I scream. And then I make her feel bad because then I tear up and the whole deal. But she's going to esthetician school. She's always wanted to be an esthetician, and getting into the medical field kind of was a stepping stone for her so that she could be more in the medical part of esthetician, medical esthetician, which means then she could do Botox and some other things that you can't do just as an esthetician. You have to have certain qualifications. And so her becoming an MA, and then getting her MA certification, and then she's a clinic coordinator right now, and all of the things that she's been learning for that, they're all really good stepping stones for her to getting to becoming a medical esthetician. It's called something else, but yeah. Anyway, but I'm going to be, one of her models, so to speak. And she takes great joy too. Like, she'll look at me and we'll be in the car, and the sun will hit just in the right place, and she'll go, ooh, do you have a pair of tweezers in the car? And I'm like, why? And she's like, I should know as soon as she says ooh. But each and every time I always have to ask. I'm like, oh, why? And she's like, I just need to get this. And I'm like, what? And then she'll do it. And I'm telling you what, God, yeah, she's quick and everything, but man, she's ruthless. She's just like, oh, got it, pluck. I'm like, oh, okay, that really hurt. Like, that really hurt. And she's like, oh, sorry. She don't care. She don't care. But yeah, I did think that it was really funny that now I'm noticing a couple of new things that COVID has affected yet again. Now I don't lick my fingers, and the eyebrows clearly need attention, because that is what people see. Not your teeth, not your stash. No, they see your eyebrows. So little maintenance is coming up here pretty quick. Oh, goodness sakes. But it sure is weird to put clothes on. I mean, I have to admit that I laughed with my son the other day, because I said to him, I just realized, and I mean, I really and truly don't think about this too often, but, what I put on every day, because I work from home. And if I have client meetings or anything that I need to have a Zoom meeting for, nobody needs to know that you're still in your jammy pants or your yoga pants, because they can't see, that part. And, so I'll throw on like a nice sweater or a nice top, and again, throw on a little mascara and a little lip color, and good to go. But yeah, actually putting on clothes to go out while they're still yoga pants, but it's not like a jammy top. And it's just so funny, because now that I'm doing, I only have my own laundry to do, because my son does his own, the son that lives with me. And then, my daughter has her own place, so she's doing the laundry for all of them. And then when Mitch comes home, he drops off his laundry. But, I mean, that's every couple of weeks. or maybe once a month. And then when Mr. G comes back, I also, do his laundry. So now that I'm doing my own laundry, I do laundry maybe once a week, which is crazy because I used to do a load, if not two, every single day back when everybody was here. And I realized as I was doing the laundry that all it consists of is jammies and yoga pants. That's what I wear all the time. And then in this croffice, it's a little cold because it's down in the, lower bottom of the floor. It's not like a basement, but it's the lower level of a house. And so it's just above ground level, but it's, at ground level, right? So, and so it can get a little chilly down here. And I have a heater on, but I've got my jammies and a nice furry house coat on and my nice thick lovely socks, and I'm in heaven. I just I pretty much roll out of bed and brush my hair and brush my teeth and throw my nice warm house coat on. Come to work. I don't know what we're all gonna do when we actually have to put on clothes and go back to work, like legitimately put on shoes. I don't wear shoes. I I wear runners when I go out to run errands. I haven't put on like shoes, work shoes, for over a year. That is crazy. That is just crazy. Man, things change. But yeah, it's funny. And then, when Mr. G and Mitch come home with their laundry, I practically bowl them over. I mean, I'm happy to see them and everything, but I'm always looking around them and I'm like, did you get your laundry down in the laundry room? Is your laundry down there? Can I go do it? Like, I'm such a weirdo about the laundry. It's such a weirdo. They love it. It's good. But yes, I do. I practically bowl them over. I'm like, where's your laundry? Can I have your laundry? Give me your laundry. And no, don't ask me to do your laundry. I only do family laundry. But yes, it's a weird quirk, but I actually like doing laundry. So my daughter loves it because when I go to her house, I will do the laundry. So, because people are getting vaccinated and hopefully our numbers are getting better because of vaccinations. Here, especially, they're talking about the kids going back to school, and okay, so this is actually the weirdest part. So the kids are going to go back to school April 5th, and so they're going to go back to school for a week, and then they get spring break for a week. And I'm like, why not wait until the week after? Like, I don't understand why we're going to disrupt everybody. And it's hybrid. Like, everybody is going back 4 half days in class. And then the other part of the half day that they're not in the class, it will be asyncratic work or remote with the teacher. And then 1 day a week, it's fully remote on a half day. It's already a half day. And so that will be fully remote. So the kids are going to be either in the morning or in the afternoon, depending on, how the teacher decides to split up the class. And so the teacher will be in school all day, but the kids will be only a half day in class. And then the other half will go in the morning, half will go in the afternoon. And then the morning kids will go home, and then the afternoon kids will be at home in the morning. Anyway, and so they're talking about also changing the time of school come the end of March, because they now need to accommodate for the bus schedule as well for all of these kids that are going to come back to school and do the hybrid. And you have the option of doing hybrid or doing fully remote. And we are going to choose to do fully remote for a couple of reasons. One, not every teacher has been able to be vaccinated. And also for us, and this is just a personal decision on our part, we don't know. We know what we do in our house. We know what safety measures we take. We know our cleanliness. We know all those things. And while we trust that other people do the same, you don't always know. And so, and then the second part is the disruption. Like it's going to be very hard for me to accommodate a part in school for a couple of hours and get her there and pick her up all within my workday. And so we've just decided for the next couple of months of school that we are going to continue the way that we have been. And it's a little less disruptive for us, a little less disruptive for her. And while we did think about the social aspect of her being in class, the other part of this is she's very new to this school district and she's never actually met any of the kids in her class. So she's never actually formed any attachments to any of them. And so we feel that her going into her new grade next year, that she will have a better opportunity to form those friendships and kind of start fresh from the beginning of the year, and not this half of a 2 months, and only meeting half of her classmates anyways. She's only going to see a portion of her classmates anyways, because the other half are going to be going in the opposite time she would go. So we've just decided that this would be best for our family, safer for our family, and hopefully best for her. We do have her in some we have her in like a STEM program in the evening, one night a week, that just started, and she loves that. And that's giving her that more one-on-one time with a couple of extra people. And so she is thriving in that. And then we make a really good effort to make sure that, she has what she needs throughout the rest of her day. So that's just the personal decision that we made as a family for the rest of this year. It was hard. It was really hard because, she's never actually met her teacher face to face. We would love for her to be able to go to the library and meet the librarian and some of those things. And so hopefully they'll accommodate for some of that the kids will still be able to meet people. But yeah, anyways, that's just the decision that we made for the remainder of this year. And like I said, it was hard. And but everybody needs to do what is best for their family and what they feel is best for their kiddo. And yeah, but boy, oh boy, there sure are a lot of changes in the world that we've had this last year, for sure, and will continue to be for a time. All of this is going to make such a big impact. So anywho, well, you guys, I think that is it for today. I actually got almost two of the, okay, well, I completed one full one. See that's really pretty, huh? I love this color. This color is, what color is this? It is 3051, and it's going to be throughout the border of the, it's just so pretty. Just so pretty, and it looks fantastic on this fabric. I am so happy with this choice. So I'm going to finish up actually this little section here and make it look the same as this one. I'm going to finish this one up, and then okay, so I finished, for those of you who've been following along with me, I put 3 coats of paint, almost, in some sections 4, but mostly 3 coats of paint on that cabinet that I got for free that has the curved glass in it. And then my daughter and I looked at it and she's like, you know, it needs a little something. Like it needs to have a little bit of a darker color on it, or it needs a little depth. And I agreed. Like it looks very, yeah, it looks very plain. And I'm doing it in chiffon cream, but it looks like a white, like white. It's turned out white. And so it just needs a little something. And so I put an antique stain on it, chalk stain on it yesterday, and I hate it. It's awful. It looks awful. And so the section that I did that in, I need to repaint in white again. And I think I'm going to dry brush some gray on it and see if that will help. But oh my goodness. So the saga continues. I thought I would have it done. I thought I would have it all done this weekend and be able to move it into its new home and put pretties in it and be able to show that to you hopefully in the next video. But no, my saga continues with it. And so I need to fix that area that I put this stain on and then see about dry brushing it with, I think aged gray is what I've picked out for it, and see if that helps. But oh my goodness, you guys, one day I'm going to get it done. But yeah, so that's kind of my plan today, is to fix the stain color and then finish this and then pull out one of my whip goes, because it is the 21st of March, which means I have 10 more days to get 20 hours in on my 2 whip go pieces, 10 hours each. So that needs to happen. And Witch is coming super close. Her name's Cordelia. And Cordelia is coming super close to a finish, and I'm really actually hoping that I finish her for the next video as well. So my regular video this coming Sunday. So I've got that on tap, and then I had such a fun time doing that special video. Well, the last 2 special videos I did, my whip parade and then the parade of kits, that I have another special video I'm going to do. So I'm excited about that. That probably won't happen until April, maybe even May. But I have a little plan for that too. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you got some crafting time in and enjoyed the blabbings that I had. They were a little rambly today, but we had such a good time yesterday that I just wanted to tell you guys about that. And yeah, so I hope you all have a wonderful week, and happy stitching or happy crafting, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.